The Jerusalem Bible, Exodus chapter 1. These are the names of the sons of Israel who went with Jacob to Egypt, each with his family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. In all, the descendants of Jacob numbered 70 persons. Joseph was in Egypt already. Then Joseph died, and his brothers, and all that generation. But the sons of Israel were fruitful and grew in numbers greatly. They increased and grew so immensely powerful that they filled the land. Then there came to power in Egypt a new king who knew nothing of Joseph. "Look," he said to his subjects, "these people, the sons of Israel, have become so numerous and so strong that they are a threat to us. We must be prudent and take steps against their increasing any further, or if war should break out, they might add to the number of our enemies. They might take arms against us and so escape out of the country." Accordingly, they put slave drivers over the Israelites to wear them down under heavy loads. In this way, they built the store cities of Pithom and Ramses for Pharaoh. But the more they crushed, the more they increased and spread, and men came to dread the sons of Israel. The Egyptians forced the sons of Israel into slavery, and made their lives unbearable with hard labor, work with clay and with brick, all kinds of work in the fields. They forced on them every kind of labor. The king of Egypt then spoke to the Hebrew midwives, one of whom was named Shiphrah, and the other Puah. "When you midwives attend Hebrew women," he said, "watch the 2 stones carefully. If it is a boy, kill him. If a girl, let her live." But the midwives were God-fearing. They disobeyed the command of the king of Egypt and let the boys live. So the king of Egypt summoned the midwives. "Why," he asked them, "have you done this and spared the boys?" "The Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women," they answered Pharaoh. "They are hardy, and they give birth before the midwives reaches them." God was kind to the midwives. The people went on increasing and grew very powerful. Since the midwives reverenced God, he granted them descendants. Pharaoh then gave his subjects this command: "Throw all the boys born to the Hebrews into the river, but let all the girls live." The Jerusalem Bible, Exodus chapter 2. There was a man of the tribe of Levi who had taken a woman of Levi as wife. She conceived and gave birth to a son, and seeing what a fine child he was, she kept him hidden for 3 months. When she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him, coating it with bitumen and pitch. She put the child inside and laid it among the reeds at the river's edge. His sister stood some distance away to see what would happen to him. Now Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe in the river, and the girls attending her were walking along by the riverside. Among the reeds she noticed the basket, and she sent her maid to fetch it. She opened it and looked, and saw a baby boy crying, and she was sorry for him. "This is a child of one of the Hebrews," she said. Then the child's sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and find you a nurse among the Hebrew women to suckle the child for you?" "Yes, go," Pharaoh's daughter said to her, and the girl went off to find the baby's own mother. To her the daughter of Pharaoh said, "Take this child away and suckle it for me. I will see you are paid." So the woman took the child and suckled it. When the child grew up, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, who treated him like a son. She named him Moses, because, she said, "I drew him out of the water." Moses, a man by now, set out at this time to visit his countrymen, and saw what a hard life they were having. And he saw an Egyptian strike a Hebrew, one of his countrymen. Looking round, he could see no one in sight, So he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. On the following day he came back, and there were 2 Hebrews fighting. He said to the man who was in the wrong, "What do you mean by hitting your fellow countrymen?" "And who appointed you," the man retorted, "to be prince over us and judge? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Moses was frightened. Clearly this business has come to light, he thought. When Pharaoh heard of the matter, he would have killed Moses, but Moses fled from Pharaoh and made for the land of Midian. And he sat down beside a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters. They came to draw water and filled the trough to water their father's sheep. Shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses came to their defense and watered their sheep for them. When they returned to their father Reuel, he said to them, "You are back early today. An Egyptian protected us from the shepherds." And they said, "Yes, and he drew water for us and watered the flock." "And where is he?" asked his daughters. "Why did you leave the man there? Ask him to eat with us." So Moses settled with this man, who gave him his daughter Zipporah in marriage. She gave birth to a son, and he named him Gershom, because he said, "I am a stranger in a foreign land." During this long period of time, the king of Egypt died. The sons of Israel, groaning in their slavery, cried out for help. And from the depths of their slavery their cry came up to God. God heard their groaning, and he called to mind his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God looked down upon the sons of Israel, and he knew. The Jerusalem Bible, Exodus chapter 3. Moses was looking after the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, priest of Midian. He led his flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of Yahweh appeared to him in the shape of a flame of fire coming from the middle of a bush. Moses looked. There was the bush blazing, but it was not being burnt up. "I must go and look at this strange sight," Moses said, "and see why the bush is not burnt." Now Yahweh saw him go forward to look, and God called to him from the middle of the bush. "Moses, Moses," he said. "Here am I," he answered. "Come no nearer," he said. "Take off your shoes, for the place on which you stand is holy ground." "I am the God of your father," he said, "the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." At this Moses covered his face, afraid to look at God. And Yahweh said, "I have seen the miserable state of my people in Egypt. I have heard their appeal to be free of their slave drivers. Yes, I am well aware of their sufferings. I mean to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians and bring them up out of that land to a land rich and broad, a land where milk and honey flow, the home of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And now the cry of the sons of Israel has come to me, and I have witnessed the way in which the Egyptians oppressed them. So come, I send you to Pharaoh to bring the sons of Israel, my people, out of Egypt." Moses said to God, "Who am I to go to Pharaoh and bring the sons of Israel out of Egypt?" "I shall be with you," was the answer, "and this is the sign by which you shall know that it is I who have sent you. After you have led the people out of Egypt, you are to offer worship to God on this mountain." Then Moses said to God, "I am to go, then, to the sons of Israel and say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you'? But if they ask me what his name is, what am I to tell them?" And God said to Moses, "I am who I am." This, he added, is what you must say to the sons of Israel. I am has sent me to you. And God also said to Moses, You are to say to the sons of Israel, Yahweh, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name for all time. By this name I shall be invoked for all generations to come. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and tell them, Yahweh, the God of your fathers, has appeared to me, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob. And he has said to me, I have visited you, and seen all that the Egyptians are doing to you. And so I have resolved to bring you up out of Egypt, where you are oppressed, into the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, to a land where milk and honey flow. They will listen to your words, and with the elders of Israel you are to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, has come to meet us. Give us leave, then, to make a 3 days' journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifice to Yahweh our God. For myself, knowing that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless he is forced by a mighty hand, I shall show my power and strike Egypt with all the wonders I am going to work there. After this, he will let you go. I will give this people such prestige in the eyes of the Egyptians that when you go, you will not go empty-handed. Every woman will ask her neighbor, and the woman who is staying in her house for silver ornaments and gold. With these you will adorn your sons and daughters. You will plunder the Egyptians. The Jerusalem Bible, Isaiah 27:6 through 28:13. In the days to come, Jacob will put out shoots. Israel will bud and blossom and fill the whole world with fruit. Has he beaten her as he beat those who beat her? Has he murdered her as he murdered those who murdered her? You have punished it with expulsion and exile. He pursued it with a blast as fierce as the wind from the east. Now here is how Jacob's guilt will be atoned for. Here is the ransom for its sin. He treats all the altar stones like lumps of chalk that are ground to powder. Sacred poles and solar pillars stand no longer, for the fortified city is abandoned now. It lies deserted, forsaken as a wilderness. There the herd grazes. There it rests and browses on the branches. The boughs are dry and broken. Women come and use them for firewood. For this is a nation without understanding, and so its maker will have no pity for it. He that shaped it will show it no favor. That day Yahweh will start his threshing from the course of the river to the wadi of Egypt, and you will be gathered one by one, sons of Israel. That day the great trumpet will be sounded, and those lost in the land of Assyria will come, and those exiled to the land of Egypt, and they will worship Yahweh on the holy mountain in Jerusalem. Woe to the haughty crown of Ephraim's drunkards, to the fading flower of its proud splendor, overlooking the lush valley, to those prostrated by wine. See, a strong and mighty one, sent by the Lord, like a storm of hail, a destroying tempest, like a storm of torrential overflowing waters. With his hand he throws them to the ground. They will be trampled underfoot, the haughty crown of Ephraim's drunkards, and the faded flower of its proud splendor overlooking the lush valley. Just like a fig before summer comes, whoever notices it picks it no sooner in the hand than swallowed. That day Yahweh Sabaoth will be a crown of glory and a diadem of splendor for the remnant of his people, a spirit of justice for him who sits in judgment, and a spirit of courage for him who thrusts back the attacker at the gate. These two are reeling with wine, staggering from strong drink. Priest and prophet are reeling from strong drink. They are muddled with wine. Strong drink makes them stagger. They totter when they are having visions. They stumble when they are giving judgment. Yes, all the tables are covered with vomit, not a place left clean. Who does he think he's lecturing? Who does he think his message is for? Babies just weaned? Babies just taken from the breast? With his sav la sav, kav la kav, zir sham. Yes, certainly with stammering lips and in a foreign language he will talk to this nation. He who once told them, "Here is rest, let the weary rest. Here is repose," but they would not listen. That is why Yahweh now says, Kav la kav, sav la kav, v'esham, so that when they walk, they may fall over backwards and be broken, snared, and made captive. Isaiah 29, 22 and 23. Therefore Yahweh speaks, the God of the house of Jacob, Abraham's Redeemer. No longer shall Jacob be ashamed, no more shall his face grow pale, for he shall see what my hands have done in his midst. He shall hold my name holy. They will hallow the Holy One of Jacob, stand in awe of the God of Israel. The Jerusalem Bible, Acts 7:17 through 29. As the time drew near for God to fulfill the promise he had solemnly made to Abraham, our nation in Egypt grew larger and larger, until a new king came to power in Egypt who knew nothing of Joseph. He exploited our race and ill-treated our ancestors, forcing them to expose their babies to prevent their surviving. It was at this period that Moses was born, a fine child and favored by God. He was looked after for 3 months in his father's house, and after he had been exposed, Pharaoh's daughter adopted him and brought him up as her own son. So Moses was taught all the wisdom of the Egyptians and became a man with power both in his speech and his actions. At the age of 40, he decided to visit his countrymen, the sons of Israel. When he saw one of them being ill-treated, he went to his defense and rescued the man by killing the Egyptian. He thought his brothers realized that through him God would liberate them, but they did not. The next day, when he came across some of them fighting, he tried to reconcile them. "Friends," he said, "you are brothers. Why are you hurting each other?" But the man who was attacking his fellow countrymen pushed him aside. "And who appointed you," he said, "to be our leader and judge? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian yesterday?" Moses fled when he heard this, and he went to stay in the land of Midian, where he became the father of 2 sons.